get started, shall we? Welcome to Yoga Hour. The word of the day is devotion. I very much think of my asana practice, the movement, these postures, as my devotional study, as my devotional learning. And I flip through the books showing yoga poses a lot that I have to learn from them. And I noticed this in the foreword today of Yoga Resource. A little quote from BKS Iyengar. He could be said to be the father of our yoga asana here in the West. It says, where does the body end and the mind begin? Where does the mind end and the spirit begin? They cannot be divided, as they are interrelated in all but different aspects of the same all-pervading divine consciousness. Lots there. But as it was talking about this book that has all the pictures of the poses, in regards to devotion, both beginners and advanced practitioners can do yoga. Because yoga only asks us to meet ourselves where we are and honestly work from that point while never failing to reward our sincere efforts. Where will your practice of asana end and the practice of your devotion begin? So let's do a little practice, do a little asana, perhaps a little devotion today. Take a comfortable seat, bring palms together, thumbs to the sternum. And come to your breath. Devote this next hour to yourself, to your own well-being, so that as we help ourselves, we help others as well. And bow the chin in towards the chest. Give yourself thanks for this time. Then we'll part the hands, lift the head, open the eyes. Come on over to all fours. And as you start in all fours, bring the hands right underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the line of the hips, and go right into cat and cow today. Move the spine back and forth. Every inhale, pull the chest forward and through, eyes and tailbone up to the sky. Every exhale, press down through the hands and knees, round the back and drop the head. Just go at your own pace. Add in the extra movements that feel good to you here. Opening up, getting to know our bodies in this moment and this morning. Continue taking a little bit more time here in cat and cow. And then when you're ready, and only when you're ready, downward facing dog. And then kind of continue that same exploration here in dog pose. Pedal out the feet. Shake your head a little bit from side to side. In down dog, inhale, lift up to the tips of your toes, heels high in the air. And then bend your knees so they're low towards the line of your ankles. Press the hands down and forward to make you lift from shoulders up to your hips. And then straighten the legs and send the heels closer to the mat. Full body stretch here. Lower your knees down to the mat, sit back in child's pose. Walk both hands over to the right side so you have a little side body reach and stretch. Walk the hands across the center over to the second side. Good, bring it back to the middle. This time as you come through all fours and right into downward facing dog, lift the right leg up into the air for a three-legged dog. Come forward to plank pose. Hold your plank or add a push-up. You'll have plenty of opportunity to add or not in this warm-up. Back to three-legged down dog, and then step the right foot all the way through into your low lunge. Come up to high lunge, arms to the sky. Change to warrior one. Press the back heel flat down against the mat. Take an extra breath right here. Open up to warrior two, so you drag the hips and the shoulders more open towards the long side of the mat. Gaze out over your front fingertips. Take a little cartwheel, hands down around the front foot and step back. Three-legged dog, left leg in the air. Take it to the second side, come forward to plank pose. Add in a push-up or don't. Step the foot all the way through to your lunge. Arms overhead, high lunge. Back heel down, warrior one. Open the arms, open hips and shoulders, warrior two. Bring the hands on either side of the front foot, and this time step forward, both feet to the front of the mat. Come up halfway, hands can go to the thighs or the shins to get you the room in your spine. And then fold over. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. Bring palms together, center of the chest. Inhale, lift both arms up to the sky. Stay right here for a moment. Press the hands together. Cross at your thumbs. Reach the hands to the right and push your hips to the left in a crescent shape. Come back to the center and do that to the second side. Just sway on over. And then back to the center. Exhale, forward fold. Touch down to the mat. Half lift. Step back to plank. Right away here, lift your right leg just a few inches above the ground. Hold steady or add the push-up. Then to down dog. And step it all the way through to your lunge. We come back up to high lunge. Warrior one, back heel down. Warrior two, open to the side. Add in warrior three, so we've got to pick that back heel back up. Both arms go towards the front leg and step into the right leg to find a balance. Make the right leg as straight as works while keeping the hips square down towards the mat. Lift from your inner thigh rather than the outside edge of the leg. And then take it back down to low lunge. Step through plank pose. Second side, lift the left leg. Add a push-up. Three-legged dog. Step it all the way through. Come up to your high lunge. Change to warrior one. Change to warrior two. Change to warrior three. So think high lunge first, set the arms, And then step into the left leg. Lift the right leg off of the ground. The hands could be better balanced out to the side or back behind you. You choose. Take it all the way back down to your low lunge. One more time in plank pose here. Lie down flat against your mat now, flat down. Cobra, peel your chest up, press down through the hands and feet. Go back to downward facing dog. I usually get there through child's pose first. Give yourself a few rounds of breath in dog pose. A quick, powerful awakening into this time for practice. Look to your hands and step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stand and reach both arms up to the sky. Good. Interlace the hands, thumb and first finger up, lift. Lean towards the right. Push your weight more into the left leg though, so that your right foot can tap out to the side, maybe even lift off of the ground. And then bring it all back into the center. Give it a go on the second side. Up, a little over. Squeeze the glutes, it'll help you. And then take the other leg out. Nicely done. Take it all back in. Exhale, forward fold. Step all the way back to downward facing dog. Come forward to plank pose and lie flat down on your yoga mat. From here, we're gonna have to roll to the side to take our arms underneath our body. So as if I'm flat down on my mat with the arms underneath. Let's see. With the hands underneath you, face flat to the mat. Lift your right leg up, stretch further back, and set it down. Do the same thing on the second side. Lift, stretch, set it down. Do both legs at the same time. Lift, stretch, and set it down. Roll the hands out from under your body. Press back to child's pose. It's uncomfortable. It goes by quick. Come up to all fours and turn your hands so they face out towards the side of your mat, or even all the way back, fingers facing your knees. Lift your right leg up and back, and it's that little lift and stretch that we just did, and then set it back down. It's pretty quick. Left leg up, little pulse higher, stretch, and set it down. And we're gonna go roll pretty quickly through these pieces of the sequence today. Tuck your toes and set your knees as wide apart as your yoga mat. We've been working on peacock pose through most of the month. Pinky fingers touch here. Elbows into your gut. And then you set the hands facing backwards like you just did. Now, if you just did this pose and the hands did not go facing back towards your knees, instead, try making fists. This may or may not work for you, but sometimes I do fists. Thumbs face forward and elbows into the side with head down. And then you've kind of taken one little piece out of the equation. Okay, head down to the mat. Lift, stretch, set the right leg down. Lift, stretch, set the left leg down. Lift the head. Stretch the arms straighter and lift the feet. Set the knees down. Come back to child's pose. Quick look at it today, and then into downward facing dog. I want to get us a little further down the sequence, but still have those quick looks at what we've been working on. So the next is dolphin pose. From downward facing dog, keep the hands as is and press the forearms down to the mat. Let the head relax for a moment so you're looking back towards the toes. Bend your knees and walk your feet a little closer in. Try to lift the hips more up right on top of the shoulders. So I do a little bit of a bounce or a pulse in the legs there to work into the upper back. If you're feeling good in that dolphin pose and want to go for a three-legged dolphin, lift one leg up, set it down, lift the left leg up like you're doing that pulse stretch, and set it down. We'll lay back down, knees down, come up to all fours. A little bit of cat and cow to clear out. And then step your right foot forward so that you're in a knee down lunge. Take both arms up to the sky, hold on to your elbows. Try to stretch your elbows higher up towards the sky, a little bit back behind you. And then send your hips a little bit down and forward. Press through the front heel and the back knee. Try to grab the back knee and pull it a little bit forward so you feel a lot of action and work in your left quad here. Stay with the pose for one more breath. And then arms straight. Lower them down either side of the front foot. Pick up the back knee. We're going to pulse back and forth here, straighten and bend the front leg. Two are towards straight the whole time. Again, faster, slower, doesn't matter, just getting a little bit of effort and work. And then we're going to change, downward facing dog, set the hands flat, step all the way back. This is our second look at dolphin pose, so look forward to the thumbs. As slowly and together as you can, lower the forearms down to the yoga mat. Now look back towards your feet, bend the knees, walk the legs a little closer in. If you want to go for your three-legged look, lift one leg. If you want to hop into your forearm balance here, look forward to balance. Hop the left leg up while the right leg is still lifted. Woo! We'll take both legs down to the knees. Step the left foot forward. Send your hips down and forward. This time, interlace the hands behind your back. Work the arms straighter as you lift the chest high. Release the hands on either side of the front foot. Pick up your back knee. And forward and back here in your lunge. Work with your breath. Step it all the way back to downward facing dog. Bring the the knees down to the yoga mat and come up to a kneeling stance. Feet flat down on your mat rather than tucked, so flat feet, so that we can use the front of the foot to press into the mat. Squeeze your glutes, get strong in the front of your thighs, and go backwards. Keep looking straight out in front of you, and then come back to neutral. Arms can be out in front. That makes things, I think, a little easier. Go back. Come on up. Do it one more time. As far back as those muscles will hold you, squeeze it in. And then take one hand at a time down to your heels. Press your hips a little more forward and look up to the sky for Ustrasana, camel pose. To get out of this, I like to think of sending chest back down, lock back into the strength of the thighs, then arms up, body up. Change again to all fours, to plank, and lie flat down on your yoga mat. Reach your hands back behind you, turn the palms up to the sky, and lift everything that you can up, up, up. Locust pose, Shalabhasana here. Keep lifting. Squeeze the glutes, try to lift from your thighs more so than your feet. Lower it all the way back. Child's pose. Interlace the hands behind your back. It makes me pick up myself about halfway. Think of curling your head towards your thighs. And again, straighten the arms and try to lift them up towards the sky so we're getting some good shoulder work in here. While you stay strong in the core, round your back. Think head towards your knees or thighs off of the ground. Pull your torso upright. Find all fours, step the right foot through for low lunge, pick up the back knee. Hands to the waist, lift your torso straight up and down. With the right leg forward, we're doing eagle arms with the left arm under. Cross the left elbow under your right arm. Hold on to your shoulders or the back of the hand or the front of the hand. So progressively more challenging in those 3 spots. Eagle balance. Step the back foot up and around the right leg. Bend the right knee so you're sitting like you would in chair pose. Squeeze the knees, elbows close in. Think of sending the head and shoulders back as you send the knees forward. Don't change the arms here. Step the leg back into your warrior. Lower the left knee to the ground so you get a little more hold there. Send again, hips a little bit down and forward. But then we're adding more back bend, so look up towards the sky and lean back. Sometimes that's easier to do with the hips not so far forward. Release your arms, send them around the front foot. Pause and breathe. We'll do this on the second side. I'm going to step my left foot forward and the right foot back. You choose. How do you want to get to second side? And then hands to hips, bring the torso upright. Okay, with the left foot forward, let's cross the right elbow underneath. Hold on to shoulders or the hands. Tone in the abdomen. that stays with us as we try to transition into eagle pose. I'll tell you one thing, not sleeping well last night didn't help a bit with my balance this morning. You can see the devotion of the practice day by day. I actually love seeing the changes. What's working? What needs a little more effort today? Okay, unwind the right leg, send it back. Send the right knee down to the mat. Offer the back bend. Look higher. Find your neutral position. Unwind the arms. Take it all the way backwards to downward facing dog. Walk your hands now all the way back to your feet so you can have a bend in the knees to make that more doable. And then ragdoll pose. Hold on to your elbows. Keep the feet pretty wide apart with knees bent and just sway a little bit from side to side. Let the breath out a few times. Roll on up to standing, shoulders up and back. Roll, roll, roll. Roll your shoulders forward and down. Okay, let's find the long edge of our mat. You can face either direction and take a wide stance. Extend your arms out wide. Turn the right toes out and bend the right knee for warrior two. And then set the elbow to the knee and take the top hand and actually behind your back. Lower it behind your back. Moving towards our bound lunge. So this is stage A. We stay and work here. I like to hold that front hand across my opposite shoulder and then try to connect bottom knee and bottom shoulder. Still working there. Go for the bind. Front arm goes to the front of your thigh and then loops underneath it. Back arm behind your back to try to find that first hand. If there's still room, once you have the bind, swing your head closer to the line of your front foot. Push your back hip a little forward to help counterbalance. Release the hands out of the bind. And now can you extend right hand down, stretch the right leg as straight as possible, top arm up to the sky for triangle pose. So triangle pose today, two are towards straight on the bottom leg, keeping the hand fingertips right against the floor. It's a pretty deep triangle pose. Do our best. Use the top hand like it's holding onto a rope to help pull you up. Inhale, lift. Good. Let's switch second side. Change your feet. It's warrior two first. Build one piece at a time. I find it super helpful to know, okay, full steady here. Add just one piece. Elbow to the knee. Right hand behind your back. And then kind of like a pledge of allegiance, the hand comes to find the opposite shoulder. And then shoulder to the inside of the thigh, right at the knee. I like to look down the whole time in this pose. Just find it easier with balance and control. Add the bind of the hands, and then try the swing of the head. And it's a movement of the pelvis. I'm saying swing the head, but for me it's a push of the pelvis forward that sends the shoulders and head back. We'll unwind the hands, left fingertips to the ground, top arm to the sky. And then for this triangle, I'm just asking bottom leg to or towards straight. It doesn't have to go all the way unless your body allows that. Inhale, come all the way upright. Rebend the front knee just for a moment, and then we'll heel toe it in. Shake out the legs fully. Okay, yogis, let's keep moving along here. Lots and lots of poses to practice this devotion to today. Come to the front edge of your mat. Good old tree pose, just right leg onto your left leg. Thigh or shin. You pick your hands today. Front of the chest, up to the sky, whatever works for you. Tree pose tends to be a first introduction to yoga asana. It's nice for me, right in the center of class, kind of come back, remembrance of that beginning. Okay, let's try the second side. Left leg onto the right leg. Hands could be different on the second side than the first. It all is dependent on you. So solid. Come on down. 2 feet to the mat. Keep the right foot forward and step your left foot back until you form that high lunge position, but with hands on the hips. Spin your back heel flat against the ground like we did to get into Warrior One at the beginning of practice, and straighten the front leg. Think of this like a back bend. Lift through the chest and look to where the wall and ceiling meet each other. So a nice long extension first, and then fold as far as works over your front leg. As you start to fold your head down towards your shin, keep the hands at the waist or hold on to your elbows behind your back. As you hold on elbows behind your back, try to keep lifting the head of your shoulder more up. That does 2 things for me. It not only keeps me longer in my spine, but it always makes me work the legs a little bit more intently. Inhale and come all the way back upright in the torso. Hands can unfold to the hips if they were different, and step the left foot to the front. Second side, we'll send the right leg back until we get into the high lunge. Back heel down, and then front leg straight. So with the hands on the hips, we're doing our best to get the bony point of the front of the hip to face the front of the mat. Sometimes it's a little shorter stance, kind of play with it. Side to side might be a little different, that's okay. Lift the torso, look more upright. And then keep that long, full extension of breath and send it forward and down. So I'm looking for less rounding here and more length in the spine, even as you fold over. And again, do you want to hold on to the elbows behind the back? Head of the shoulders still up. Press down through your front big toe, the back outer heel. And inhale, come back upright. Release the hands. A little bend in the knees to safely step forward. Inhale, lift both arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Step back to plank. Okay, we're going flat down to the mat. Then we're actually just going to turn over so that we're lying on our back. Take your hands out to a T. So if you can Or if you need to rearrange your space a little bit, the most that you can, have the arms all the way out to a T shape. And then we'll bend the knees and take about a 90-degree angle, knees over your hips, feet as high as the knees. Good. Without letting the knees touch the ground, we're going to send them over towards one side and hover, hover, hover. Push down through the upper arm bones to help root you. And then bring the knees back across the center and send the legs to your second side. As the legs go towards the second side, again, hover. So we're lifting that bottom leg to the top leg, kind of squeeze them in. And then back to the center. The option to continue doing that, or more challenging, go for straight legs. So it's firmly rotated pose. With straight legs, I'm trying to send my feet up towards the hand. So as the legs go back to that first side, try to aim your feet to hover right over your hand, and then bring the legs back to the center. Strong abdominal, especially in the obliques work here, sides of the waistline. Send your legs to the second side. And then back to the center. Bend the knees and give yourself a hug. And rock up to a seated position. From your seated position, take your hands about a foot behind you. I like to turn the fingers out towards the sides of the mat. Think of yourself like a table. Press down through your feet, your hands, and lift your thighs and hips. Tuck your chin and look down the length of your belly. Watch the beauty of your breath. Push a little more into your hands, a little more into your feet, and keep lifting the belly and thighs. You can change to look just straight up if you'd like, but please don't hang your head back. And then lower your seat back down to the mat. Give it a breath. We'll do the exact same thing a second time. I'm going to add a lift of a leg on the second go round. You can add the leg or not. Inhale and lift. Pull the right knee in, extend the leg. Knee in, set it down. Left leg in, extend. Knee in and set it down. And then we all get to come back down. Downward dog. So depending on where you are on your mat, flip around or over and find downward facing dog. This is one of my favorites, lion breath. Come down to all fours. Lift the right leg up and back. We've already done this. But now set the knee behind the left leg. So I've got my right knee to the outside of the left foot. I'm going to squeeze the heels in, and I'm actually going to try to sit back on my heels. Bring the hands up to the front thigh. You can close your eyes for this one. We want to make some noise. We're going to stick out our tongue and yell, ah. Ready? Stick it out. Ah. You just let it go. And then you come back forward to all fours. Unwind your legs. Lift the left leg up and back. Set the left knee to the outside edge of the right. Squeeze the calves in. It's a little bit of a calf smasher as you sit back. Tone in the abdomen to bring the hands up. One more. Here we go. Stick it out. Ah! All the stress. Let it go. Unwind. Back to all fours. Down dog. like bear crawl. I want you to bend your knees and get into a little tiny stance. Bend your elbows, bend your knees, and heel toe, walk your feet closer to your hands. You're in this little tiny position. Can you, once you're there, set your knees onto your upper arm bones and bring the weight out of your feet into the hands, especially into your thumb and first finger. Bakasana, crane pose. Keep sending the weight more into the hands until you can lift your feet up. Maybe it's a little tap and play of the toes. And then both feet go back down, knees away in that little bear crawl. You extend it, extend it, extend it until you're back into downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank. Lie flat down to the belly. Get off your hands for a moment. Send them back behind you. Lift everything that you can up off of the mat. Push back to child's pose. And we're changing here to Malasana, yogi squat. I'm going to lift the chin and look to the hands and step my feet on either side of the hands. Hips go down, lift your torso more upright until the hands can come free. Keep your butt higher as needed to keep your feet flat on the ground. The option to stay here in Malasana, skip the next pose. Or we're gonna try arm pressure pose, which does need to lift the butt so the arms can go through your legs. This is like the firing everything at you sequence. So hands go down with the fingers facing towards the toes. And you again bend at the elbows and have a shelf. Now you're sitting on your upper arms instead of placing the knees on the back of them. Take your feet off of the mat. So weight again is just in the hands. Push your upper arms into the legs and squeeze your legs into your arms. And then the trick is to find Malasana again. Everyone, yogi squat. And downward facing dog. We've got arm balance, back bend, arm balance, back bend here, a little bit back and forth. Let's find a back bend again. Come forward to plank, lie down onto the mat. Bend both knees. Reach back, hold on to your feet. You can hold on to the feet or the ankles. Do spread your toes wide. Lift everything that you can up for bow pose. If the hands don't reach the feet, hold on to the air between your hands and feet. And then lower it all the way down. Back to downward facing dog. I think this came through a lot in the 45-minute class this week, if I remember correctly. We're going to an L shape in the legs. So I'm going to step the right foot halfway up and then shoot it under the body. Lie down onto the right hip, keeping the legs at about an L. And it's a twist in the upper body. Twist to look towards the short side of the yoga mat. Like your hands are still in chaturanga, that low push-up. Lower the chest down. And then push into your feet, straighten your arms, and lift your hips back up. And step it through to downward facing dog. Try it on the second side. Left foot comes halfway up the mat. Shoots underneath the right side of the body. So you turn the feet, lie the hips down. Try to open the legs like an L shape. Turn and twist from torso and shoulders. and like your lower push-up. So I'm hovering chest right above the ground here. Some weightiness into that thumb and first finger. Push into the feet, straighten the arms, lift the hips, and then extract the leg. Now that same similar thing, but in the arm balance variation, so the right foot steps halfway up, and this time instead of shooting the leg straight, you step on it towards the left side of the mat. Bend the elbows so they create that shelf. Ideally, the right elbow is free, not on your body. And as we come forward and back in a little bit of a pulse, you're trying to take the left knee to the outside of the left elbow. The right knee to the outside of the left elbow. If they touch, keep it there. And again, try to trade more weight into your hands out of the feet. Extract everything to downward facing dog. Second and last side, left foot steps halfway up and then off to the right side of the mat. So I've got my left foot on the hardwood rather than my yoga mat over on the right side. From there, the stage is much like the low lunge variation where we just power a little bit front and back, front and back. If the elbow and thigh happen to touch and make base with each other, keep that connection. Try head a little forward and down to get the legs up. Extract everything. Bring your knees to the ground. Turn the palms up as you press back in child's pose. Such gratitude for the ableness of our bodies. Bring your torso upright here, sitting back on the heels. A little bit more. Take a twist, look over the right side. And a twist, look over your left side. Okay, come up to kneeling. We've been here. I'm going to add on to it though. Right foot forward. And then hips down and forward. Let's take the hands to the front thigh and pull the back heel in towards your seat. I'm going to turn and try to hold left hand to the big toe side of the foot. And you can really open up the body to look to the side and even back. And then pull the heels close into your outer sit bone as you can. I've flipped my fingers down and the elbow up to make that happen. Okay, if that's working pretty well for you and you want to try to go for the elbow crease hold, you're going to slip down to the elbow and the hand tries to touch your shoulder. This is a lot to ask. Go stage by stage. What works for today? If the other hand is free, send it up. And you're trying to bind. And then the last piece of the puzzle is we're not looking to the side. Try to look back forward. And so it's a tone turn in the belly and shoulders. Lean the head back into that upper forearm. Think all the way back to dolphin pose to help you out there. Nayasana Doi, mermaid pose, version 2. Release, release, release. The forward bend here can just be laying your belly down onto that right thigh. I always just kind of get a little heavy for a few breaths before I'm ready to move on. And then we got to try to find it on the other side. If you go back towards kneeling, left foot forward, hips a little down and forward. And the tricky part for me is like, I've got to release the hips a little down and forward, but if I go all the way towards my maximum, I'm going to so shorten in the low back that I've got nowhere to back bend to. So if I keep the hips a little bit more lifted, I can grow a little longer in the torso, and then I've still got somewhere to go to reach to the back foot. So it's a little bit of a game, a play, to find how the two things meet. Right hand finds the right foot, hips high enough, though you're working balance too, that as you find heel in, and then it's just kind of a little bit of a puzzle piece to try to get that elbow instead of the thumb in. Left hand up. Attach if it works, twist, hips and shoulders back to the front. And we slowly work our way out of the pose. Let your belly and chest hang onto that front thigh for a little low back release. And when you're ready, downward facing dog. Last downward facing dog. An effort to really just extend and stretch it all back out pretty even. Come down, sit down, feet out in front of you. With the feet out in front, lay down onto your mat. Take the hands more like goddess or goalposts. Bend at the elbows, out by either side. We call this one double diamond. Feet as wide as the mat and let both knees fall over towards the right side. It's another really nice counter pose after an intense back bend like mermaid pose as the knees fall towards the right. Maybe pick the left foot up on top of the outer left thigh. And then give it a go on the second side. Knees go across the center, fall over to the left. So left foot pretty close to the right knee. Can stay on the ground or take that lift on top of the thigh. Okay, remove the foot if it's lifted. I like to sit on the hands to help sit up. So just come back up to a seat, but I use that little push at the end to help. Extend both legs straight out in front of you. Pick up the right leg and kick the heel towards the left seat, left outer hip. Send the right knee more down and forward, and then fold over. I get a good stretch in the bottom leg here, a little bit in my top outer hip. And again, for me, it's also just helping with that reset of the low back after the back bends. Come on, upright, and we'll try it on the second side. So both legs straight out, lift the left heel, And kick the heel towards the outer hip. Ideally, that top knee rests down towards the bottom knee. I know in a lot of folks it's a little more lifted. That's okay too. You just do your best. Kind of fold over. In Yoga Hour, we call this one Holy Cow Pose. It's a version of the fuller cow pose. Cow face pose, I should say. And then come on back upright. Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Hold on to your feet or ankles, whatever feels nice to you, and sit upright in the pose today. And the heels don't have to be super close in. They can go further away from the pelvis so that you can have a little more ease and get into that external rotation of the hips. I like to close my eyes at this point. Let yourself really start to settle in more deeply. Still making shapes, still making poses, but really that sense of deeper devotion coming through. We've got one more thing here. So if you did have your eyes closed, open them back out and stretch your feet out. A little wider than the hips. And then I'm going to try the right ankle on top of the left thigh. Lean towards that left side to fold the bottom leg in. And then try to sit back up on top of it for fire log pose. Flex both feet. I have a big space between my knee and bottom ankle there. There's no need to try to press that closed. If over a few breaths time it starts to just descend and release a little bit, cool. Usually I just kind of hold on to the space. We'll really spend most of the practice working on how to come into this pose for our Wednesday practice this week. And so we'll see a lot more with it. I like to lean back here just to be able to extract both legs at the same time. And then we'll see what happens on the second side, left ankle over the right thigh. Again, I like to lean towards that side, kick the bottom half of the leg in, and then come back up on top of it without shoving or pressing down this top leg. Some little trick I have is lift the whole body up using the hands and try to scoot the seat like further back. And often when I come back down, that gap is a little lessened. So you're actually getting yourself out of the way, not trying to push into anything here. It's a lot. And then again, just lean back, extract the legs. Lie down onto your back. If you need a little more movement, another hug into the chest, do that here. Otherwise, lie back. Relative stillness and quiet. You are welcome to stay here and take a more lengthened rest. As you are ready, make your way back to a seated position. Another quote from Mr. Iyengar that certainly borrows from many devotional studies. My body is a temple. You hear that in many different philosophies and religions. My body is a temple. The asana are my prayers. So as it focuses on our yoga mat, thank you for the devotion of asana by asana today. I'd like to close in the sound of Om. You're welcome to sing along here. You're welcome to listen or to tune it out. It's a helpful way of moving from this space into the next, carrying the gifts that we've found here. Empty out your breath. Take a deep breath in. I bow in deepest of gratitude to you, to each other, for this practice. Thank you, friends. Namaste.